Welcome to Business Math. We are winding up the semester here. And just quickly, for you online students, watch when your final exam is going to be. Your final exam, you have to take it at either Enid, Alva, Ponca City, or Woodward. You must bring a picture ID with you. For your online students, if you're unable to take it at any of those 4 locations, then you will take it through Remote Proctor Now. And all the directions for Remote Proctor Now are at the university website. Just click on the A to Z index, then click on R for Remote Proctor Now, and then you can read through all the instructions for Remote Proctor. All right? It'll be a final exam, 50 questions, all multiple choice, and it will cover chapters 1 through 5, 10, 11, 12, 14, 16, 17, 19. 50 questions long, all multiple choice. It is open book, open notes, open internet. However, don't feel like you've got gobs of time, because basically you'll only have a little less than 3 minutes per question. And on these times, on a timed exam, which I've taken plenty of them, you gotta keep moving, okay? And watch your time carefully, because you will have 120 minutes to take this exam. 120 minutes, and that's it. And boom, the test will be over. So we don't have very many class sessions left. We are going to do 17.3 today. Then we will skip chapter 18. We will do 19.1. We will do 19.2. And then the party is over. Okay? So watch your final exam presentation, or the time for your final exam. All right. Well, let's do a little review in chapter 17. Okay? So hopefully you have your book with you. This is a good idea for your online students, too, to always have your book handy, so when I refer to a page number, especially online students, because a lot of times you can't see the recording is high enough quality that you'll be able to read that carefully. In chapter 17, we talked about promissory notes, simple discount notes, and then the discount process. So let's go through another a quick example. Let's go through a quick example of a promissory note. Now turn to page 454, and there's an example of a promissory note. Page 454. So, good old formula for interest. Hopefully you know it by now. Let's see, what is the formula for interest? Courtney.
Principal times rate times time.
Very good. And this is something that this should be a question where I should have one essay question on the final exam, and this should be probably the one. What is the interest formula? Interest is equal to principal times rate times time. And really more important than memorizing the formula, however, is to really understand why this is the formula for interest. So in the case of you're going to borrow $100. It's very important that you know where that $100, what's the name of the $100. I mean, that $100 that you're borrowing, is that the principal, or is that the rate, or the time, Rachel? When you're borrowing $100, when you're borrowing $100, the amount you're borrowing, is that called the principal? It's called the rate?
No, it's called the principal, sorry.
That's called the principal.
Yeah.
That is the amount you're borrowing. So the principal goes right here, $100. Now, the rate is expressed how, Robert?
As a percent.
As a percent. Very good. So it's expressed as a percent. So if you take a fairly, let's say you have one of those high interest rate credit cards because, I've read the fine print on my credit cards, and my credit card says that if I mess up and make late payments, then what are they going to do to my interest rate, Jonte?
They're going to raise it up at least by 5%.
Yeah, they're going to jack that thing up, aren't they? And that's exactly what will happen if you mess up on and make late payments on your credit card, okay? And in fact, they might jack it on mine. It says they can jack it all the way to 29.9% interest. So let's just pretend, fortunately, I have not been late on my credit card payments. Now, in the last 30 years, do you think I have ever been late on a credit card payment? Shay?
Maybe when you were younger.
Oh, you're just so wise, Shay. You are so wise. Wise beyond your years. Exactly. Now, when this happens, that you realize that you're going to be late on a payment, I don't care if it's for a credit card, for a car loan, for a home loan, for a loan for a doghouse, I don't care what it is. If you realize that you're going to be late, what's the first thing you should do, Robert?
I don't know.
Just take a guess. Let's say I'm the credit card company, or it doesn't matter. Like I said, if it's a credit card situation, or if it's a home loan, a car loan, and all of a sudden, bam, Robert, you realize you're going to be late. What should you do?
Make room in your budget to pay a higher interest rate.
That's a pretty good answer, Robert. Boy, it's a good thing we're having class today. Does anybody know what you should really do immediately? I wish they put the. See, it's not
Make
when
a
I'm
phone
looking
call?
at you all. Wait, who said that?
Make a phone call and tell them
Extra credit for John Tay. Immediately. You pick up the phone. Immediately. When you realize you're going to be late. So, Shay, you were absolutely right. I have been late. Not very many times. But it's happened. Where we got busy, we were on vacation, there have been some times, not very many, but it's happened. Okay? And it even happens, I think it even happened probably once in the last 10 years. And I'm old as dirt, so that's, But immediately, we do what Jonte said. We pick up the phone and we call. Immediately. Now, my wife is pretty good at this. So she pleads for mercy. She goes, oh, by the way, if you're pleading for mercy on a late payment, if you've been late 47 times, do you think your pleads for mercy are going to be heard, Rachel?
No.
No, not at all. You see, now Rachel knows this, maybe probably maybe all of you know. Life is not fair. Two people, they do the identical same mess up. identical. One of them gets their interest rate jacked to 29.9%, and the other person gets forgiven.
Mm.
Now that doesn't sound fair, does it, Rachel?
No, but it happens.
But here's the difference. The person that got their rate jacked to 29.9, they've already been late 47 times. Right?
Mhm.
They're not going to get any mercy. There's no mercy. You know, especially, and you see your credit score, we don't talk about that too much in this course, but your credit score is a measure of really, this is horrible. This is if you have one. I'll put that requirement on there. But if you have a credit score, your credit score is a measure of how reliable you are. That's why some employers even will want to see a credit score. Insurance companies will want to see a credit score. It's a measure of how reliable you are. And if you have a credit score of 429, which is pathetic, then actually that tells people, wow, you're not a very reliable person. You've already been late on payments many times. You probably even haven't paid back debts. You probably still have outstanding debts all over the place. It's not a good situation. But I tell students this over and over and over again that life is not fair. Responsible people in our society get treated better than irresponsible people. You'll have two employees. They will both do exactly the same mistake. One of them gets fired, and one of them doesn't. Well, guess who the responsible employee was, Courtney?
The one who didn't get fired.
The one who didn't get fired. And the irresponsible employee will go badmouth that company, badmouth the other employee, and will badmouth and say, oh, that employee is such a brown noser, and that's why that person didn't get fired, and I got fired, and we both made exactly the same mistake, and I got fired.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow. I was just talking to somebody, and this just happened. They were working, I believe, for Sandridge, and they made a mistake, and they got fired. And I even heard the mother of this person say, well, all he did was,
Mm.
and then named what I can't remember what it was something to do with the truck, and he made a mistake and so forth. But you see, if I'm just guessing, because I'm old as dirt, so I'm a pretty good guesser. You see, if you have an employee never late to work, employers don't like that when you show up late, okay? You're never late to work. You don't leave early. You don't take extra long lunches and all that stuff. In fact, here's a really good tip. This is not from me. This is from one of the books that I read. This is a really good success tip. It's a very practical psychology of success. This person found out what time their boss got to work. Okay? They find out. Got to keep track. What time this person was, in other words, came real early one morning to find out what time the boss got to work. And then this employee always beat the boss to work. This is a pretty interesting strategy from one of the books I read. Can't remember which one. And then he'd find out what time the boss would leave. Of course, that was easy. You just wait until the boss leaves. So instead of gathering, let's say you're supposed to work till 5 o'clock, most people, they start gathering all their stuff up about 4:15, shutting everything down, and so they can run out the door, punch their clock at 5 o'clock, and head out the door. Well, this person said, I'm just gonna stay and see how long the boss stays. So the boss would stay like till 5:20, 5:25, sometimes 5:30. But then this employee wouldn't leave until the boss left. That was pretty impressive. That was one of the things that this person said that resulted in them getting promoted very quickly in that company. Because they always beat the boss to work, and they'd never leave until the boss left. But anyway, life is not fair. Well, so one more thing. If this does happen to you, that you're late, let's say on a credit card payment, they might even let you out of the late fee. Did you know this? Raise your hand if you already knew that. If they may let you out of the late fee. That's awesome. Yeah, some of you already knew that. So, already letting you out of the late fee. Or letting you out of the late fee. That's really awesome. Now, we haven't been late very many times, but you know what? The very, very few times that we have been late, I think we got out of the late fee just pretty much every single time. Did you know that? Now, the first person you talk to, this is some good stuff. I guess this is why we still have class. The first person you talk to usually doesn't have any authority. So you don't, rather than telling your whole story and the whole thing, and the best thing is don't make 100 excuses. Just say, hey, look at my record. I don't make late payments. I messed up. I was late. This one's going to be late. So I'm asking for some mercy here. Don't blame the credit card company. But don't get in your whole story until you find out if the person has the authority to waive the late fee. So that's a question that we've learned to ask rather quickly. We just ask, do you have authority to waive this late fee? And if they say, no, I don't have that authority, say, may I talk to your supervisor? Okay? And then you ask the supervisor, do you have explain just shortly, and this is why I'm calling, do you have authority to waive the late fee? And also, I'm asking you not to jack my interest rate. Okay? Anyway, well, let's say that you've been late 47 times. I hope that's not going to happen to you. And let's say you're on a 29.9% interest rate, and it turns out that you're going to end up being 15 days late on this. Now, we're not going to compute the late fee, but we're going to compute exact interest. So how many days are in a year for exact interest? Let's go to Robert.
365.
365. So the actual keystrokes for this, it's going to be 100 times 0.299 times 15 divided by 365 equals. That's going to be the actual keystroke for this. In other words, for a whole year, it would be 29.9%. One of the things that I would encourage you to do, so that you don't get ridiculous answers, because I've had students do this many times. They punch this all in their calculator, and they come up with an answer, $38.27. That's the interest. Now, without even punching your calculator, why is that a ridiculous answer, Courtney? Without even punching your calculator. Why can you tell me that $38.27 is a ridiculous answer?
Because it's too high.
Yeah, it's way too high. And in fact, for one entire year, the interest, this is good to estimate, for an entire year, the interest would be how much? Let's go to Shay. $29.90. That's what percent means. Per hundred, $29.9 per hundred. So this is the interest rate for an entire year. So an answer of $38.27 is entirely ridiculous because we're only doing this for 15 days. It was just 15 days. That 15 right there is days. That's it. So that's absolutely ridiculous. In fact, as a good estimate, that's a half a month. A half a month? Well, how many half months are there in a year, Rachel? How many half months are in a year? Oh, let's make the problem easier. Problem-solving strategy. How many months are in a year, Rachel?
12.
So how many half months are there in a year, Rachel?
6.
Half months. Half a month. See, let's see. How many half months are there in April? Well, you got the first half of April, and you got the second half of April. Right? So, in fact, we can start with January. You got the first half of January and the second half of January. So you got 2 half months of January. Then you got a half a month, the first half of the month of February, and the second half of February. And then you got the first half of March and the last half of March. And then you got the first half of April and the last half of April.
8 months.
So we have 8 half months in 4 months, right? So if we kept going, May would be the 5th month. We'd have the first half of May and the second half of May. So now we have 10 half months in 5 months. So how many half months would there be in 12 months? See, at 8 o'clock in the morning, this is rough. Take a shot, Courtney.
24.
24, because you see, you have 2 half months in every month. You have 12 months. 2 times 12 is 24. So a really good estimate would be a little over $1 for every half a month. So I've estimated that out of 15 days, this should be a little over $1. That's my estimate. So by doing estimates, this is extremely important. It'll help you so you don't come up with these ridiculous answers of like $38.27. All right, did anybody punch that into a calculator yet? What did you get? We got to keep moving.
It's $1. It's $1.23.
And is that a realistic answer, Rachel?
Yeah, that's what it came up on the calculator.
Well, see, my realistic answer, I said, 15 days is about a half a month. There are 24 half months. I know if I took this $29.90 and divided it by 24, that would be pretty dang close to the answer. So I know the answer would be a little bit more than $1. Well, $1.23, very reasonable answer. All right? You need to get in the habit of estimating your answers before you punch the calculator. All right, well, let's keep moving. On page 454, you have a promissory note. The face value is the amount that you're going to borrow. So if this were a promissory note, the $100 would be the face value. That's the amount that we're borrowing. The term is the length of the time, so that would be the 15 days. The term would be 15 days. The date that the note was issued, well, if this were in the form of a promissory note, we could put today's date on that. That's not a problem. The payee, that's the company extending the credit. Who's loaning the money? The rate, that's the 29.9. The maker, is whoever is the company issuing the note and borrowing the money. So that would be you. You're the maker if you're going to borrow this money. And the maturity date would be the date that you're paying this back. So the maturity date would be 15 days after today. That's to do with a promissory note. Now, a promissory note, you pay the interest. Oh, this is a good question. This might even be on your final exam. When do you pay the interest on a promissory note? At the beginning of the loan or at the end of the loan? Which one is it, Courtney?
The end of the loan?
Well, you had a 50-50 chance, so you still get your 2 points for your good participation.
At the beginning.
Yeah, you pay it at the beginning. Oh, what did you say? Courtney, I'm sorry, did you say beginning or ending?
Ending?
You're absolutely right. I totally messed up. Courtney, it's too early for me, so Courtney got it right. I'm the one that messed up. It's paid at the end of the loan because you pay your $100 back, and then you also pay the $123. Okay, which really isn't too bad. To borrow money for an unsecured loan for 15 days. I mean, you're definitely not going to get that from one of those payday advance companies. That's nice. You're going to borrow money on $100 for 15 days. They are not going to charge you $1.23. They're going to probably charge you at least 10 or 20 bucks. Okay? So, you need to know that you need to stay away from those payday advance places, and you need to get an emergency fund. I realize as a student, it's difficult to get an emergency fund going. You need to do that. So you pay the $100 back plus the $123, and like Courtney said, you pay it at the end of the loan. Now this is different than a discount note. A discount note is different. Wow, this is interesting. My computer decided it didn't want to clear the ink. Let's try that again. Wow, fascinating. I'll have to wait for it, yes. On a discount note, however, if you're borrowing, if the $100 is your face value, okay, the face value of the loan, that's also known as the maturity value. That was fascinating. Why that's not doing that. Wow. If it's a $100 discount note, you're not going to walk out of the place with $100. If this was a 29.9% discount note, they would take that $29.90 up front, and then you would walk out the door with $70.10. That's how that would happen if that were for a 1-year discount. So on a 1-year discount note, since my computer looks like it locked up, on a 1% or on a 1-year discount note, and if it's a $100 discount note of 29.9%, you'd only walk out the door with $70.10. That's called the proceeds, by the way. All right, well, we talked about that. In 17.2, we did some algebra. So we took our interest equals principal times rate times time, and we did some solving for that equation. And in fact, let's see if my computer works. Okay, the clear ink wouldn't work, so I'll do it the old-fashioned way. I'll just erase here. Let's see. So I grab the eraser and I go like that, okay? So Courtney had a really good way of solving an equation. She gets the prize for the best way to solve an equation here. So we had interest is equal to principal times rate times time. So for example, if we wanted to solve for rate, what did you do to solve for rate, Courtney? Just to review.
Divide P and times 2 each side.
Yeah. So you divide both sides. I'll put it in red. P times T. That's what you do. That's the easiest, fastest way The P's divide out, you're left over with R is equal to interest divided by P times T. So, good old algebra. Hopefully you remember a little bit of algebra. Now, in 17.3, we're going to discount an interest note before maturity. So, I want you to look at page 462, and we're going to walk through an example. This is the example of Roger Company. It sold a promissory note to the bank. So, let's see if I can erase ink now. It's stuck. That's fascinating. So I'll still have to do it the old-fashioned way. All right, so you're looking at page 462. It's slowing me down a little bit, but anyway, let's quick see if we can do this before the end of class. Okay. So, face value of the notes, 2,000, 185 days. We're going to use ordinary interest. How many days in a year for ordinary interest, Robert?
360.
360, okay. We have an interest rate of 6%. The bank discount rate is 5%. Now, the 5%, that means if they grab their money right up front, and the date of the discount is August 9th. So, we want to calculate the interest first. Calculate the interest and the maturity value. So, let's see if we can do this. So, the interest is equal to principal times rate times time. So, we plug 2,000 in for the principal, so that's the face value. We're going to take that times 0.06. We're going to take that times, since we're using ordinary interest, we use 360. So your keystrokes are going to be 2,000 times 0.06 times 185 divided by 360. So your answer, your author does that and gets $61.67. All right? Now, if this is a regular promissory note, Courtney did it right. This is the one I messed up on. The maturity value means that's what you have to pay back. The maturity value is the 2,000 plus the 61.67. So if this is a regular old promissory note, then that means this is what we're going to have to pay back, $2,061.67. Okay? But now what we're going to do is we're going to discount this thing. Okay? So we're going to calculate the discount period. From August 9th to March 8th, from August 9th to March 8th, that is 154 days. Now, by the way, they show you how to calculate the days between them without a table. What's nice is Google can do this very quickly for you as well. But anyway, no matter how you calculate it, you're going to get 154 days past before the note is discounted. Okay? So, the bottom line is you have 31 days, because the original length of the note was 185 days. So if you take the 185 days and subtract that 154 days, you're going to end up with 31 days. And this is the 31 days the bank is going to wait for the note to come due. Okay? Now, on top of page 463, you have a really neat diagram. It shows you the entire 185 days, all the way from here to here is 185 days. And then this is top of page 463. Then it shows you, hey, this way over here to the left, this is March 8th. Way over here, this is when it was due, September 9th. The date of the discount happened to be right here at August 9th. So there's 31 days here. There's 154 days over here. So this is a nice diagram to show you what's going on. So if you do this with the table, now you can either do this, they show you on the bottom of page 462 how to tell the number of days without the table. We're going to do our calculation now, and I'm going to erase this top because I'm running out of room. Here's your final calculation. This is going to be how the discount is calculated. We're doing ordinary interest here. So it's going to be the 2,061.67, and then the bank is going to discount this by 5% for these last 31 days. And when you punch when you take 2,061.67 times 0.05 times 31 divided by 360, you get $8.88. So that is the amount that they're going to discount it. They decided to discount it. The bank decided on the 9th of August to go ahead and discount it by 5%. So what you do is you subtract that $8.88 from the 2,061.67, and you get $2,052.79. So, the bottom line, what does this mean? Well, if Roger had waited all the way until September 9th, way over here, he'd owe this entire amount, $2,061.67. All right? But, if he wants to go ahead and pay this off, and the bank is going to actually discount that by 5%, he would end up getting that benefit of $8.88, so that could be subtracted off from the $61.67, and therefore he'd end up paying the $2,000 plus the $52.79. You guys did a good job today. I appreciate your attentiveness, and I will see you on Wednesday. Have a great day.